I got you. Okay. All right, good, sir.
All right, thank you, everybody. Apologies for the late start. Metro North's fault, it was downstairs. Welcome to the May meeting. And I will make a motion that we approve the agenda for today. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes were carefully prepared and distributed. Any questions on? I make a motion. Is there any question about the minutes? All right, I
No.
make a motion to accept them. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So my chair's report. Oh, yes, as usual. All right, so this is this month. Last month, there was lots of good news from the Metro President Justin Bonishek, and ridership and on-time performance. And yesterday he announced that so this was on Tuesday. They had, I think, 260,000 riders, which was a new record. So definitely looking up on the ridership perspective. Safety, thankfully, accidents are going down. Yeah, that's right. The charters on the second page showing the increased ridership in the city zone and out on the Haven lines.
That was really interesting. Thank you.
Sorry?
That was really interesting. Thank you, Karen.
At Grand Central, they have an off-hours lighting project, which has been completed and is going to be expanded to reduce energy costs and save energy. And the new engines, I guess, will ride Hudson. All occasionally see them. So on the Haven line, they're doing very well with them. They're getting 33, 9 of them on the circuit have been delivered already as typical day 5 and 6. I don't even know what was on train. It's powered by them. You can see that. Look at that. But I have seen them in my various trips. Weekend service again on the Haversboro Austin Ferry starts this weekend and goes until Labor Day. And then I was also going to talk about the RFP request for proposals, which really, I'm sorry, Jessica last week is announced today going up, and I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't want to spoil Andy for his presentation to us, which he accommodated us on short notice. So there's nothing else. That's the Lisa.
The ridership of these Bronx stations is amazing, percentage-wise. Yeah, really amazing. At Melrose,
It's
years ago was
reflects the
really
development in the neighborhood. There's been significant struggling.
It reflects the development in the neighborhoods. It also reflects the affordable fares. And probably the reverse as well, right? Right, the city ticket and the fact that people want to go on bus. It's one of the reasons that we're continuing to pursue a city ticket or a one city, one fare proposal, which apparently has some interest in with our friends in Albany, continued interest, and we'll find out more as the budget documents are released and voted on. But that is still something that piques people's interest. We know that the MTA doesn't prefer that they've been dictated to on fare policy. But the suggestions that we have made, advocated for, pursued over time, but that include allowing seniors and disabled riders to use their discounts at all times, and my favorite mid-kid discount, mid-kid fares.
That's what we call.
That's a good call. That's what we call it. Not everybody on staff loves that, but who said they like that? Somebody said they like that. Who I like it. You might have even coined it. have started out as, actually it started out as, legislative proposals. So hopefully getting things in one zone, so that a monthly ticket from the Bronx stations and also from some of the stations in Queens will all cost the same, no matter which zone they're from. So it wouldn't be a different price for monthly, from Riverdale or from, Melrose, depending on where you live, that it would be the same, and that they're hopefully one day be able to pair that with the transfers to subway buses. And if there still are weekend tickets on railroads, which was something that I think took the chair a little bit by surprise yesterday when he was asked about refunds on the Long Island Railroad, for the 4 days. He's like, oh, I don't know. He said, we'll get back to you about the refunds. So, not a lot of people use them, but it's something that it is worth continuing to pursue. So I guess that starts my report. As you probably have been playing along at home, the budget continues. Well, I think what did Gary Pratwell, who's the assembly head of the Ways and Means Committee, said? In the first inning of the 9-inning game, which is better than the beginning of the middle of the end. These are all the technical terms that are leadership uses, right? So they've released several bills in Albany that the assembly is beginning to vote on, and they've released several of the budget books. It's not the TEDP or books that most of the transportation money is in, but sometimes some of the other legislation that is important to ridership and to the MTA is included in other budget books. So we're continuing to look at those. But just because the budget is passed doesn't mean that other aspects of the legislative things that we care about don't still have life. So we'll continue to have conversations with our friends in Albany, and even with people who may not be our friends, because they also need to hear what we have to say.
Our future friends.
Our future people who don't know that they're our friends here. We are talking about going up there another time. I don't think that we do think that the Rider Act, which changes some of the ways that our filling of vacancies is conducted, has some life. But the Rider Rep Act, which allows for voting membership, Rider Act has some life because we worked with powers that be to make some amendments to the legislative language that seems to be acceptable, or at least not something that people will actively oppose. But the Rider Rep Act this year, it seems to be a non-continual, so to be continued next year.
The leadership is not happy.
Well, the leadership has decided all of a sudden that they are not agnostic about the makeup of the board, whereas in the past they've always said that they're agnostic about the makeup of the board. So some flip has switched somewhere. So yeah, and some switch has flipped somewhere. Yeah.
So one of the things that doesn't directly affect us, but it's the other councils, so they have to now hopefully only have that one meeting instead of three. That's the big ticket item here.
That's well, no, so that's a separate piece. The LARCC has even different piece of legislation that's passed now the Senate and the Assembly.
It's not fully passed the Senate, it's aged for 3 days and we're waiting for it to be voted on.
Right, so that just needs some pushes and nudges in the trolley car to get that over the finish line, but that would allow one name for LARCC instead of the three. What the Rider Act would allow is that if there's a vacancy that the leadership could make recommendations for filling, temporarily filling that those vacancies until the elected officials make recommendations. So like now the Bronx actively has names who are in the governor's appointments office. But we've had names who are in the governor's appointments office for years. It's aged out the elected officials who are trying to it, right? So we need to, make sure that we don't have a 15-year span of just a vacancy because for various and sundry reasons. So to allow there to be better and more complete representation across the entire hemisphere of the MTA portion of the hemisphere of the service area. So that we believe that is has a good chance of passing. And those I think are the major ones at the state level. The fair fares legislation, Brian's not here because he's on a call. Right now that's talking with senior leadership at the city council about automatic enrollment at fair fares, which would go a really tremendously long way to increasing enrollment. So that instead of having to take an active step to say, oh, wait, there's something called fair fares. Am I eligible? What do I need to do? 10 minutes later, wow, this is a real pain. Let me get to it later. If you are eligible and signed up for other benefits, it's an automatic enrollment that goes along with it. So we think that has some decent, a good chance of passing. The city budget is also moving through its process as the state budget does too.
So how will our app know that you're enrolled in other benefits?
Fair fares is not currently accepted on the railroads. Well, another aspect of legislation or fair policy that we would like to see, I don't think it's gonna happen this year, but it's been gaining momentum, is fair fare on the railroads within New York City. I think we have to wait for the city to come to some balance of its more balanced budget, but it's something that has gained a lot of interest, and it's something that has had traction in Albany, but it would be an unfunded mandate for the city unless the state wants to come up with it. And if they do, then is it only fair for them to pay for that within New York City? And then that expands. Obviously, there's a lot of need for it in other places, but we'd have, because New York City currently is the funder of fair fares, that getting, say, Nassau County to pay for it is, I can't even imagine that happening, but getting, some other counties like Westchester might be more open to doing that. But I think that's on a larger scale, that's a different conversation, but on the railroads within the city, we've been gaining some traction. What am I missing? What am I missing on the legislative there?
I think that's mostly everything on the legislative front. We're also on the city side, we're working on buses as well. There's a lot of progress with the new administration, and the MTA announced yesterday that there's going to be a joint report between the city and the MTA coming out soon on better buses, and so we're staying tuned on that. We're in tune on that and
In tune and into the room.
in the room, yes.
Yes.
Largely thanks to Henry's great report on BRT that we released last year. We're definitely in the conversations on that and look forward to seeing what comes out of that discussion.
And I think we finally actually have a bus mayor, which is very helpful.
Too many people yesterday were coming after the MTA for fair fares. I mean, we have no involvement. We accept it.
So those were a lot of the members of Riders Alliance, and they're one of our close partners on pushing for fair fares, and they're the goal is to try to get the MTA to also be more vocal on fair fares because they have supported it in the past. Of course, it's not the MTA's program to push for, but being more vocal at every level is always.
When the MTA got more vocal, so in previous rounds, the federal the eligibility of the federal poverty level increased, and the MTA pushed old and spurred the city into action to really increase and enhance its education campaign. And the MTA took over a lot of its education campaign. So the MTA was really instrumental in making it a much better known program. That was a recommendation of the Blue Ribbon Fair Evasion Task Force report too. Excuse me, one of several that revolved around fair fares. So the MTA's engagement in that certainly would help. The more people talk about it, the more it's known. I think that Jenna was a little defensive when he was asked in the press conference. Well, of course, we know about it. We've been talking about it for years. But yeah.
Where's the cost of implementing fair fares in that? Oh, if we have more fair fares, MTA revenue will go down because people are getting cheaper tickets for whatever reason. So the city makes.
The city makes up the difference. So the we look at it this way. Half people don't pay for buses right now. And probably a large part is because they can't afford them. So let's say that there is one of the things that the Blue Ribbon panel found, or task force found, was that they're one of the groups of people who evade the fare is because they can't afford the fare. So if you make fares affordable for people, then you can provide them with the opportunities and the means to pay the fare. Right now, if you make minimum wage, you make too much money to qualify for fair fares. So doubling the eligibility to 300% of the federal poverty level vastly increases the pool of eligible applicants. You just have to make it so that people actually are.
Does that go every year? Does it go up every year, the federal poverty level?
So
Since it's a percentage, it technically does increase every year with inflation. And the city every year so far has negotiated it a little bit higher, never as high as we want it.
it's 150% of the federal poverty level right now. And so it's like $24,000.
For a single person, it's about $24,000.
Yes. And to live in New York City. So that's very hard to do. But there are people who do it and students who do. So they're not necessarily regular commuters. So you want to increase the pool of regular commuters. So it's undersubscribed, not just because it's hard to subscribe, but also because it's not regular commuters. So there's money that's left on the table. City needs to be able to pay for however many people could use it. So Kara has done a tremendous amount of research on this. She's our fairfares guru. Guru.
Yes, yes.
Hooray.
Yeah.
But it would ultimately most likely help the MTA's bottom line because it would be fully funded by the city and just get people riding transit more frequently because they would no longer have to worry about affording it.
Right. So there's a lot to unpack in that, and we'd love to see an expansion, but first we got to get where we're going. We were involved as marginally in the middle as we could be with the Long Island Railroad strike. Basically, our line was just get it over with. People don't really care who wins as long as their fares don't go up and we can get it. That's not necessarily what we were saying inside, but that's definitely our outside force. We were it was getting to the point of Jerry Brinkman, who's chair of the MNRCC, was much more vocal as it's appropriate for him. But it was definitely a hardship. Brian and I were out at the buses.
Bring that up.
Yeah, Jerry and I, Brian and I were at the buses, and Brian was out at 4:30 both Monday and Tuesday morning. I was like, so I was out at like 7:30 on Tuesday morning, and there were definitely people riding the buses. But
Jerry was out there too.
well, Jerry was out there in Ronkonkoma, we were on the receiving end. Jerry was out there before 6. Brandy asked a question at the board meeting yesterday about how many more people drove. And the answer was, I think there's a 2% increase with the Queens Midtown Tunnel over the 2 days, which is not terrible. And I think a lot of people work.
A lot of people work from home.
We also are going to, the data isn't out yet, but we're planning to look at the 2 stations that had shuttle buses, subway stations, I mean, the Jamaica 179 and Howard Beach. We're gonna just wait for that data to come out and then see if there was any kind of major ridership there.
So give Maxwell's point at 7 too, because that was a park and ride also.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people being dropped off at the F train at 179th Street. I was a waiver telling the buses not to stop where at right there, keep going. I don't know if that's no, I'm not a greeter, a waiver. Don't stop here, keep going. Yeah.
Does Metro North have a contract?
So Metro North does not currently have a contract, but there's so many different unions that there are, ongoing negotiations. Right now, Transit Workers Union does have an active negotiation going. So there's all eyes were on these negotiations because this gentleman was asked yesterday to set a pattern for the next negotiations and for the next set of contracts. And he said everyone's different, everything is different. And I think that it's the official terms of the 4th year and the contract haven't been released yet. Needs to go out to the members of the 5 different unions and for ratification first.
They told him that executive session that he was not able to discuss anything.
Yeah.
Nothing about the contract said. Anything that's out there, it's all been leaked.
Right. Right.
But not by MTA.
From what I understand from somebody who is not involved in any of those 5 unions, but has been involved in other contract negotiations, that because of the number of leaks and the amount of information that's out there, that the membership is probably pretty well informed, so that it's not going to be new to them, and so it may take less time to ratify than it usually does. So hopefully that is true and it will move forward quickly, and then that will help to better inform TWU's contract negotiations. Now, there was an article in the Journal News today about how the contract could potentially affect Metro North. And I think what we were looking at certainly was not just the length of the potential strike, but how it could affect fares and service in the long run. And what we heard from the chief financial officer was that if the contract was signed at what the unions were initially asking for, that could result in an 8% fare increase instead of a 4% fare increase. Which is obviously a lot of money and for people who are already paying a lot of money. So the MTA yesterday said, and the governor on Tuesday, Monday, thank you, when the announcement was made about reaching an agreement that this would not break the MTA's bank, would not result in any fare changes, and would not have any major fiscal implications for the state. You're a math guy. But
The spouse says it all.
We'll make it increases. So we'll see. So hopefully that is, there's lots of theories behind that, but I don't know what the contract is. So we'll see what that ends up looking like and how that ties over in the long run to the other unions on the ground.
I wanted you, Richard. Not every month, but almost every month, After the board business is conducted, we have an executive session to discuss labor agreements. And the thing is that the MTA is never gonna get a court up. It's not possible to do that. We're always is a way. You think you got this guy, then the next one. So it's an ongoing process. It keeps the people that are working.
Yeah, well, they conducted the negotiations on our floor in the offices next to us. I took a lot of walks, but you couldn't really hear through the walls because they were conducting them in the middle rooms with nothing. But definitely, after the federal mediators told everyone to go back to the table, it went back to the table. And that was the good news. In a tumultuous weekend and very uncertain and unsettling for a lot of people for the weekend. So hopefully that doesn't, that's over. And that's that. So I think that, there's
A couple more things.
Yes.
No, Brian is on, but we were going to also mention Randy had shared a link about the proposal for the Newburgh Beacon Ferry. And discuss whether or not we should support that and maybe reach out to the people who are proposing that ferry.
Hopefully, one of our O'Donnell said that he was aware of it, yeah, so
financially.
well, financially. I didn't get a chance to speak to one about it because it was a meeting with them.
Well, that's the question, is whether, and would that piss off the MTA?
I don't believe that it will. I think at least in the beginning, we could maybe talk to the people who are proposing it and see what their stance is. But at least in the article that Randy had shared, they're proposing putting in $200,000 to, I think, study it in the early stages.
But now, where did it, okay, well, because I thought it already existed, so it didn't extend.
Yeah, essentially what the folks are asking for is that, the ferry has been it's an MTA asset and it's been operated by the MTA for, the recent past. What the local folks are asking for, and including both the cities of Newburgh and Beacon and some of the county officials as well, is that the MTA either allow use of the facilities under some sort of agreement, or just fundamentally just turn the property over to either the counties or the cities. I'm not sure exactly what the mechanism is. We can talk to the folks about that. They probably have a better sense, so that they're able to use it in the future, since the MTA doesn't seem to have any plans to ever bring service back.
Rich, do you have any information on this, Taggio?
Rich, you're muted. *6 will unmute you.
No, I don't have any information.
Okay.
I know that when I was 2 years ago, university, one of the vice presidents of New York Waterways offered to rebuild the dock. Says we'll pay the whole thing, so there's interest over there. That of course it happened. All right.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it for our report. We have 2 reports in the works that we mentioned in the past. One about signage and wayfinding that Henry's been working on. Again, if anyone encounters any issues with signage and wayfinding, please do let us know. We're always soliciting feedback. Then we have another report, hopefully that will come out very soon, on the Interborough Express and ridership patterns there. That one's being worked on by our other insurance Benji. Did I do the social media report?
Yeah.
Okay. Just a couple of things. Of course, it has been a quieter month for Metro North than the Long Island Railroad. But there is still blowback and confusion over the fare changes. Again, need to note that the Metro North and Long Island Railroad Twitter accounts do not respond to people anymore. They have stopped.
Or subways, right?
Yes, all the MTA social media accounts have stopped
Why?
responding on Twitter in particular. They're trying to move away from. And that used to be one major way that we would track what was going on, was looking at where people were complaining and then the response they were getting from the railroads in particular. The Long Island Railroad did start responding briefly during the strike actually to address some things about the refund policies in particular. But
What do you
so
want
we,
people to do? Go to a different.
Go into
guy or
you
something?
can chat inside the app.
yes, they want everyone to use the app now essentially, which is not a bad thing, but the issue is that.
You get to see it though.
No, so that's and we have other methods, so I've been looking a lot more at, there's other ways of seeing what people are tweeting about. Reddit is really helpful, where people share concerns there, Facebook, there are definitely ways to look at what people are saying, but it's less public and you can't see the response from the agency when they're using the chat. So just need to make a note of that. But the overall biggest thing still is the fare changes. There's a little bit less discussion about the 10 trip this month, but more generally about how it's impossible or very hard to buy tickets in advance and how inflexible the 2-minute refund window is. In one case that was a little bit sad for me, was seeing a student share that they accidentally purchased 2 one-way tickets on Metro North. They just clicked 2, but they tried to get a refund and it had been just over the 2-minute window, so they weren't able to refund that second ticket that they had purchased and they couldn't afford that.
They should, contact customer service and explain that. Hopefully they'll have.
Yes, I think that there are ways to get around the refund window when there are cases like that, but it seems like people are very frequently having issues with that 2-minute refund window, and a little bit more grace should be given to people.
You mentioned about buying tickets, but now less convenient to me.
Oh, no, it's very convenient.
Oh, I thought you used to like to buy them when you go
Well,
to
no.
the champion.
What I was saying is, I have learned to adjust.
Because as a super user,
You know, so before I would buy it in advance, but now it's just like, okay, if I'm traveling today, I'll buy it today as opposed to 2 days. So I find it works quite well. And also, you know, if you're going to travel for the, I guess, the 10 trips and get the free one, it's right there. You can see how you have progressed toward it. So, and I think the app is pretty clear about, you are traveling today. This expires at 4 a.m. So again, it's like anything change requires time and effort and willingness to adjust.
So the other big issue was the where the train stops. How is that? Is that?
Is that the age?
The train spotting.
Yeah.
We haven't heard much about that since it went.
Yeah, they made their adjustments back.
so my social media was a personal interaction. The doctor I saw right before I came here, comes in from Poughkeepsie. And she takes a 5:12 a.m. train every day and they moved it back. Because that's way too early to run.
What was your experience in Croton today?
Yeah, well, this morning, I was at Croton Run, the end of the platform, the end of the canopy, and it's raining. And so nobody wants to go to the end of the platform where the train is supposed to stop. 7-car train, but it has to go down to the end of the 10-car platform. The engineer had enough sense to see where the people were and stopped. He didn't go all the way to the end of the platform. So I was glad to see that.
But have you written it recently otherwise and seen them that they
Pretty much,
usually
they've
go?
been going pretty far down, yeah. Not all always to the end, but maybe 1 car length from the end, further down than they used to go in the past.
Has
Help distribute passengers. Or, because I mean, we talked about how everybody must be in the front of the train. I don't know how your station works, but if it's going down further, maybe that would keep the front being so crowded.
The front is just keeping it. That's where people exit the platform of Grand Central. You're always going to have people wherever the train stops, unless you literally randomize it every day.
Which I think is what was happening, right?
There is just I do see on social media, there is a lot of skepticism among people who believe that the charger locomotive rollout is not going well. I know the railroad has told us that it's going well. Note that dissonance.
No, it's obvious, I mean. They have, these, last report, they were 9 at the end of the board.
Kind of going back to the ticket.
Yeah.
Activation or refund policy. Has customer service seen like a big uptick in inquiries or things customer service has to deal with since the change of policy?
So we don't actually, well, part of the issue is that we can't see what they're responding to. So we don't actually know what people are complaining to Metro North. There are some data sets that are public about their surveys, but that is something that we would like to look at if they were willing to publicize it.
Yeah, maybe that's something we can ask for.
I believe that that sounds familiar to me, and I think that they're working on it in some way, but let me know. That is a good point.
Oh, there were 100 inquiries prior to the increase, and then it went up to 3,000.
Yeah, about like 3,000.
Were there any rain issues?
I didn't see any rain related issues from yesterday, nothing.
I think it came from the south really, and it said it was sort of city and then northern Queens and Long Island. And and Brooklyn and my neighborhood.
We were delayed half an hour on my way back to Suffolk because of a downed tree blocking the track.
Well, half an hour is not terrible.
No.
I thought this was funny. I got an alert this morning that the 8:23 a.m. train from southeast to Grand Central is bypassing Chapman Park and Pleasantville because of track issue. Customers will be accommodated by the 7-Eleven train out of Poughkeepsie. The 7-Eleven train out of Poughkeepsie.
That's a tough really.
I thought it was
So Andy is gonna join us. I'm sorry, Carol, you
Yeah, I'm done.
Andy's gonna join us, but he's on the call that's running long. Randy, were you there for the FIFA presentation yesterday? Do you wanna talk about that since that may affect some folks?
Nothing was discussed about New Jersey Transit. I just talked about, I took a screenshot of and I sent it to you, you can put it up on the screen, I don't know.
Is it an image or a PDF? If you send me something. Via email, I could.
And the other thing, as we're waiting for Andy, is summer trip, what we did on our summer vacation. Where we'd like to go. Randy had sent a list of some deals.
Just mention one thing while we're all here. I guess you may know that there's a move going on in Orange and Rockland counties that have studied on restore passenger service on West Shore Railroad. That would probably be the 22nd such study that's been done since 1959.
We keep studying.
But anyway, there's a lot of public officials are signing on to this request, such a study to be conducted. And I'm not sure who they are asking to do the study, if it's New York Dot or if it's MTA or who, but we may get involved in this at some point. I'm sure if it goes on.
Are you involved in that now?
In the study?
In the effort?
We're involved in that?
Are you?
No, I'm not. No.
You sent.
I'm involved in enough things.
Haven't got.
I caught the tail end of like their presentation to the Haverstraw Village. They're trying to sign up all the river towns along the line to give their thumbs up to it. Why not?
And that's currently in Metro North, right? property?
Yeah, like no service here.
No, service is terrible.
No, yeah, I haven't
We
gotten.
were
the
talking
email yet.
about that earlier before you came in.
I could, I could screen share the presentation that Andy had shared if you want.
He said. Do you have the summer? Oh, here we go. All right, so.
Yeah.
Field trip.
Let's check out the new Metro North Albany service.
Okay, I just got it, Randy, thank you.
Randy, yeah,
Perfect.
all right, so, Randy sent us what we've done. One idea that Randy had, okay, it's, Jeremy's doing this.
On the West Shore thing, Warren, so late Vice Chair Warren gets nothing involved in the back of the nineties, so years on that stuff. On our own time, you have to work your full day, going to New Jersey, various places in Rockland and Bergen County for meetings, nothing ever came with it. Fortunately, no one has bothered me. So he involved with this fund. Been there, done that.
Did it come to any conclusions? Like, oh, this would be great.
It
Or
doesn't serve any population centers, and it would cost $1 zillion to plug into the next.
Yes,
Other than that, it's a wonderful idea.
See a second.
Well, no question, CSX doesn't want it.
Astra, Newbury,
What these
West Nile.
consultants never seem to find out is that Metro North and NJ Transit have easements to operate trains on the West Shore Railroad, northward in New Jersey, somewhere around there, to Kingston, all the way to Kingston and Ulster County. And there's some conditions, of course, you'd have to do the second track. Well, they have second track most of the way anyway now, but still, it would be obviously a very expensive proposition. Question, how many people would be using
All
it?
right, Andy's here.
Okay, so I've also like to speak about this. briefly.
Wait, there, what's that on? So-
Everyone. So,
Hello.
Hello? Good afternoon. I heard Randy at first, but I don't hear anyone else at this point. You hear me?
We can hear you, but there's a lot of background noise.
Trying to eavesdrop.
Yeah, thank you for your time, please.
So Andy, we have a copy of the presentation from yesterday, or we can screen share it with you.
Can Rich mute himself because they complain about background noise?
Andy, would you like us to show it and you talk about it?
I think that would be, I mean, there's a lottery. The best would be, yes, there's not much I can add to it. I
Or do you want to give a
would
brief
recommend it.
and you can, then we can just go through the slides if you need to jump.
We're releasing a RFQ, trying to qualify bidders for the new order of the new coaches.
Why don't, do you have the, slide? Yeah.
So basically Jessica Lazarus, who was appointed.
Yeah, Andy's
to
gonna,
do it?
yeah.
Okay.
but we're gonna just put the slides up.
How does he know we are?
I just wanted to give an introduction.
Okay.
I go for it.
So Jessica Lazarus was appointed to the newly created position of being in charge of new rolling stock for the railroad and the subways. And so, today, the RFP, the request for proposals was being released for car manufacturers to respond.
Okay, Andy, you should see the slides.
Yes, now I see.
All right. So Randy just gave an overview that the RFP is being released. Are these M3s that are being replaced?
None of them, they're the coaches, they
Okay,
shrank all
okay.
the shore.
It will be all coaches that are being replaced, or if all options are exercised.
Okay,
The shore.
all right.
And again, we're requiring single level coaches, only single level coaches required to operate in and out of Grand Central. MPT our coaches are at or past their useful life. So
We're having a hard time hearing you. You're breaking up a little bit.
I apologize, but I don't have much choice at this point. I'm in transit, but I can communicate as much as I can.
Understood.
So the coaches are at or past their useful life. They've done with new
Who's not as hard to see, that's the.
primarily, as everyone here is aware, our coaches primarily serve Hudson Line or Harmon, the same branch on Harlem Line, as well as the branch lines in Connecticut.
It's not coming. I think first.
Okay.
So again, we're looking at modern safety, modern amenities on our coaches, trying to bring them up to standard. But all of our riders expect across our other products. People in 5 days. With that, also we're trying to make this program as RFP as possible. We're not being highly scripted for the proposals that we're requesting.
Maybe you should try calling back.
Andy, I think you're definitely we're having a connectivity issue. I don't know, it would be better if you called back. Would that be possible, or we can do this since you were otherwise engaged? And know that we appreciate that you made the effort. So the let us go through the slides, and they have
All right,
so when Andy can jump in, we will do that. Okay. Okay.
Basically, the cars are looking to replace other coaches, they have a blue stripe and a red stripe. If Blue Stripe Metro North purchased them, and the red stripe, state of Connecticut purchased them. By my count, it's just slightly under 200 of them. They're looking to do 250 to up to 600. And you look at the recent deliveries of coaches that have come. New Jersey Transit is focused on what they call their multi-level cars, and they're not buying anything else. Period. At the end. Some of the cars that Metro North is using were built as early as 1983, and the little ones with the center doors, if you've seen them on the trains going from Kitchen to the southeast, those are from 2004. So, yeah, 1983. And there's some of the cars when Metro North made a big investment in Western Hudson service in the early 2000s. They bought 65 cars for use on the Hudson lines, and we needed like 24 cars or so that they transferred over to Eastern Hudson. With my son at the time, so we have a service. The Hudson at home. They actually were rebuilt, and they fit them into a number of cities with as the rest of the cars. So you can see the views, depending on how you look at it, you can see the old ones slightly behind the new ones. So it's quite interesting. And
Are they gonna move any of the old ones over West Hudson?
no, I think they're gonna have to buy all the cars when it comes that time. Jersey Transit is not gonna have on-call fleet of cars, and yes, but they're gonna have to buy the same car. And they don't usually use the multi-level cars on the Pascack Valley line, but there is one early afternoon trip, which I have frequently ridden, that uses them. And it's on the last inbound train. The train's a 355 out of Valley that goes back to Hoboken. That's the only train that's inside this one. So,
This is not, so this falls in line behind procurement to replace the M3s, right? Because that's got to be the higher priority.
yeah, well, there's already, they have awarded a contract for the M9 I believe.
Yeah.
Well, but they accelerated the replacement on Long Island Railroad and they neglected Metro North.
That's right.
But a picture from the from the railroad that Brian and I, Long Island Railroad that Brian and I were riding on Tuesday. There's literally duct tape holding the seat together on the M3 that we run. But those are so much worse because they never refurbished them.
So I mentioned Noah this back in the late 90s.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
Yeah,
if this in any way slows down that replacement project, I would say we should object to that. But they should wait because that project is much more important.
yeah.
That's
No, I think that
online.
they're parallel. Interesting, huh?
I was surprised to see this news, given that the M3 project, there have been no replacements for M3s in Metro.
I remember when I first became a board member, I took a ride out with a bunch of my friends out to Greenwood. And so the guys were all probably a group of 15 or 20 of us. And I walked through the train and I took pictures of the seats with the duct tape and the remains of both duct tape. And I emailed to President of the railroad, was Pat Nowakowski at the time, and also to Isla Greenberg, who was out. He was Jerry Freeman on the one. And they got nasty. So it's we'll pull the car on the train and fix it or something like that. And then they sent me pictures of the repaired car. It really was a repaired car. Yeah. I was just annoyed that no supervisor goes out there and sees how good the cars look like.
Didn't we go somewhere where they fixed the leather and the covers of the seats? Where did we?
Hillside.
Hillside.
Yeah.
We also went up to the facility at Hybrid.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they ripped out the.
You showed us where they have the fabric and how they like.
And they ripped all the seats
Does the
out.
low end part would not have a sensor like that? Oh, they do.
All right, I've asked the question about if it'll affect. So we're hoping that we'll be able to get Jessie Lazarus to come to, she's giving the presentation on the whole,
MTA.
right, to the MTA on the whole rolling stock procurement, rollout proposal in June, so it'll be the end of June, so she won't want to do it. So she said, Andy said, this is an independent procurement, so it shouldn't have an effect.
That's where,
yeah.
I'm worried about management distraction. I mean,
Right, well, that one is further along.
Yeah.
And that should be, hoping that the testing will be apace. But it would be interesting to maybe get Jessie to come for a September PCs. So that we can ask for the presentation and update for all of the
Because it sounds like people will be there. And they'll have more information by then, how many people have responded, how many companies, firms have.
Yeah, and where we are with the M9As. They were having some issues with the acceptance of them on the Long Island Railroad. So I think that they sent them back, maybe not to the drawing board, but to think about what they've done.
I think that the money for the M9As for Metro North, they both a few years ago to delay that and get instead the charger locomotives. That's what happened. So the MPs actually made that decision.
I would have voted on it.
Yeah.
That's where you live.
Oh, no, but I mean, it also, I mean, they're, yeah, the M3s are a backbone of the fleet. The electric district is higher density. There are more people involved and they are in awful shape.
The M9A should be sleeping with the fishes.
Yeah, mine.
No, I'm sorry, the M3s should be sleeping with the fishes.
The FBA's.
Yeah, the M3s.
They were
The
nice.
M3s.
They were 1983. There.
Sleeping with the
He was
fishes.
there when they came.
One of the BM1s came out.
Yeah, once as well.
Do you wanna talk about, the summer trip
Yes,
quickly?
yeah, I kind of mentioned to Jamie Torres Springer, who I told I had the honor to sit next to yesterday. I asked him how progress is going. I said, we'd like to go to see one of the stations. And he said, well, we just don't want to lose any more time. So I said, I'll have the staff contact you and see if there's a station that we can go to without, causing any, delays.
That would be very interesting to see.
All right, we have a call next week with one of his staff that will ask about the feasibility.
You're saying we're going back to the wrong station?
No,
No,
not to.
on
not-
the Penn Station,
no,
one of the,
Penn Station
Penn
access.
Station access.
Oh.
They've got the shells, but they're not gonna have service now, it's looking at 29.
They refused to say that.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks.
Fueled with Amtrak.
Yeah.
Or Amtrak's having a few.
I like the faith that, I mean, with all the successes that the team has at C&D, that we're not fooling around. We're not fooling around.
I don't think it's the C&D issue, I don't think so at all.
The Bronx project seems to be going very well, but also the project they control all very
No,
well.
that's the one that goes souls to Oakland 27, it's now could be delayed to.
No,
the ones we saw last year.
Oh, that, oh, yeah, that's when we're, and Ventura has complete control.
Yeah,
over
that's
that.
very
It's
Randy, you had another thought about a different,
White Plains.
what,
He was White Plains. That's an interesting shop to look to also, I don't think that any of that is.
North White Plains?
Yeah. But it's, yeah, it's, it's great, but it takes just it takes.
Or it'll take a couple of hours to get up there.
I don't believe that for me.
You're in the city and then that's it.
The people who work, it's a big ask to have,
No, New Haven is too.
there's. Whatever, a work from home day, and then join us.
That's not from home, that's like from other
Except for
cities.
me.
Oh, yeah, it's a work-
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
I'll host one track for
Oh, in White Plains, right, I thought you meant from New Haven.
it. In the backyard. Oh, in the backyard.
I think wherever we go, it's like a day that we're
It is
doing
there.
it, so.
I mean, I'm retired, so I mean, I don't want to do.
Well, it's not like I can hop in for an hour and go, God, off to New Haven and go.
We're not going to.
What was the White Plains, Randy?
Like,
White Plains Stanford.
North White Plains, what?
Shop.
Walter, as much as I love these suggestions, let's keep it in New York, please.
Gotta be patriotic.
No, we have to, the staff, need to sort of stay in New York. We've got the monitors on. They're all different.
Well, I mentioned Stanford, that's only 45 minutes from Grand Central.
Doesn't matter. They have to
Doesn't
keep
matter.
it.
On fast.
It's
train.
Okay, North White Plains shop, anything else?
With the high bridge, we disrupting with Grand Central Madison, you got that, we go to the area top. So it's just.
We did that.
We did the shoes.
Don't wanna do it again, I don't think.
It's just a very one. But that's why. So.
Alright, so we've got two here. Richie, any ideas?
Fight with the mayor up there.
Or Francis, any thoughts or? Be interesting to see if there's any connectivity with Metro North and Beeline that's new or exciting. Or if
I mean, there are interesting conversations. I'm not sure it's worth a visit right now, but the people in New Rochelle, which have done more urban dense development than almost anywhere else in the region, definitely prioritize the linkages to through the train station there.
yes, the New Rochelle Transit Center, right?
and-
That would be,
and that's got I think they're just kicking off lunge. I think they're kicking off a project to try to find grant money to help them. I don't think they've got anything committed yet.
You mean, Andrew Stewart Cousins' home station?
She's in Newcastle.
She has an interesting district. But I think, so that would be interesting, because that's gonna be the terminus for, the Penn Sound.
No, it's a business.
Sadly,
Yeah, there's gonna be running, they're gonna be running trains. Yeah, so, right. You want a shower?
Yeah.
Really?
But you can transfer. So maybe the New Rochelle, Transit Center, isn't it, didn't you, some of your classmates do projects there?
A little bit, there was like a connector project. But it was less transit focused, it was more TOD. And New Rochelle was a model for development.
And so, analysis of the other, most likely, doing, we shall be free.
Yeah, okay,
Anyone?
all right. Okay, sounds good.
So,
And you have new business and more business, yeah.
you know, anything, Rich, any new business, Francis, anything new, anything you want to talk about?
I was saying as I walked in, I'm just curious. I rode from Yonkers, and today was the first time I've ever gotten a train in Yonkers, and they've got a beautiful waiting area behind a very large padlock.
Yeah,
And I'm just curious, you know, how common that is, and if there's any plan to
I think
unlock
that's,
such spaces.
I think that's an Amtrak facility,
Is that right?
believe so, because I've spent,
Metro North runs that station.
what do they?
Yeah, Amtrak just stops trains there, that's all.
I was, okay, because I spent a bunch of time going up there, and I thought it was,
What's going on?
I spent a bunch of time going up there over a couple of years ago, and I thought it was an Amtrak, no, it's,
Yonkers is a Metro station. We don't even have a ticket agent in there.
that's,
They have machines for Amtrak and Metro. There's no Amtrak employees in that station.
We own, every station up to.
Yeah, just saying, I don't know how many other spaces there are like that are closed off. That one's particularly obvious because it's
so
yeah, there's no
beautiful.
door, it's a gate, it's just locked up and it's beautiful. But
Did you go during rush hour?
no, it was I got on the 10:06.
Trying to remember if it was open, it is beautiful space,
Yeah.
and they've got bathrooms, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't,
Yeah, what?
bathroom,
Allegedly.
that's a good question.
Aside from having ridden through there several hundred times in my life, we had a, for the 100th anniversary of Grand Central,
They have to
council
wait
had
really
events
hours
at
for you.
Yonkers, Brewster, and the Pelham.
Uh-huh.
And then executive director Bill Henderson had his tent, bought his tent and set it up, and we had tables and giveaways and stuff like that. I was in front of that building, but I never went inside, but never.
So the first link that comes up is an Amtrak website. Hours, 6 to 9:30 p.m. every day. So is this outside of those hours?
6 to 9:30 p.
6 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
No, it was over time.
That is when the station and building is open during those hours. There's no
It's a
ticket
shared
agent.
station between Metro and Amtrak. Weird.
It's maybe the fifth largest.
But that was an issue on the Long Island Railroad too.
Yeah,
Is sometimes waiting rooms just not being open for whatever reason. And they should be.
right. All right, asking,
Did we decide to say anything about the Uber compared? Or
We're gonna do some more research into that.
we're gonna,
Yeah, we'll look into it.
support any effort to increase MTA revenue?
excellent,
Good plans.
I emailed people in New Jersey Transit, right after our meeting about the connect, there's a upgrade, which one piece is connected to the We think it's, change it.
I change the term.
I think that it is, but this will still be. I'll follow up.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you
let's see
need
how
to check
much-
the machines, the ticket vending machines don't have that on.
Yeah, last time I checked it.
Okay,
Alright, I've asked about that. Yeah, I mean, Long Island Railroad during hot and cold. Extreme heat and extreme cold, they keep the stations open longer. But otherwise, they become havens for the unhoused. It's similar at 125th Street.
Yeah.
So speaking of 125th Street, I was speaking to my social media person today. And we got two travels to and from 125th Street. And they said that when they get on at 125th Street, there are almost no seats because everybody apparently has to put their bag on the other seat.
going north outbound.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that it's a big deal to get into. And she had a request to ask. For more,
Make announcements on it.
yeah, and that even a conductor is making announcements.
You know what line she takes?
What's that?
You know what line she takes?
She goes to Poughkeepsie.
Well, that can be a problem. I've gotten on there numerous times in my life, and sometimes we're coming from the body of their luggage. But we have found passengers to be very helpful in those situations. Move over, make room and all that stuff.
It depends on the
Sometimes
time of day,
they have the
probably.
baggage on a seat. You may even have to ask the conductor to tell them to move. They usually don't move it if you ask.
It depends probably on, yeah. She said I get on 125th Street, so I bring my uptown attitude.
All right.
The other thing was about training for for something like the connecting ticket from Long Island to, thank you, combo ticket. Then there should be better training for the conductors on the combo ticket because they gave us some of it. So I'm gonna just reach out to Ed Phillips.
Now, we've been aware of many complaints about the short validity of the one-way tickets. Wow.
Yes, definitely. It's largely, well, it's more so about the inability to purchase tickets in advance. It's less that
Right.
it's not inherently the expiration window, it's and it's also the combination of not being able to purchase it in advance, having a short window, and then having a very narrow refund window as well.
So I this hit me the other day, we had people coming up from, a couple of weeks in advance, and I said, I'll send you tickets for the train. And I said, wait a minute, I can't do that. They'll be expired. They'll be giving the government expired tickets. They'll get arrested. So I said, never mind, can't do that.
Not arrest.
Yeah.
Yes, so it, as Rosalind was saying, it requires a change in behavior from what people were doing before. Most people have adjusted, but there is a loss of flexibility with being able to send people tickets, for example.
Right. ECEC is June 4th. So hope to see you all there.
Working on a speaker, Brian's
We got one. James Splendor from Construction and Development is going to give an overview of all the capital work happening on all three branches. So something for everyone.
excellent. Great, and then maybe we can start with working on Jesse Lazarus for September PCAC.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Right. So we have no other business here. Any final comments, anybody?
I will move we adjourn.
Second, thank you all for coming. Appreciate you being here. Nice to have a record number 4 in a row with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
For being here.
CHC is in.
Yes.
It's at noon, yes. Thank you.
And
Bye, everyone.
It's at 2 Broadway, and that's the same day as the